On August 1st, 2021, Nikita tweeted, "Queer women will guess your zodiac sign in zero point 0.2 seconds, but can't guess if you're flirting with them." This is the Museum of Twitter, the show we talk about the most important tweets in the history of Twitter.com. Okay, I thought about doing a tweet that could be related to the Elon Musk Donald Trump falling out, but I record these ahead of time, and the news on that is moving so fast, I don't want to risk that something completely changes and all the things I say make no sense anymore. So I'm doing another Pride Month related tweet. And I'm just going to jump right to it. I have a guest for this one, because as you probably could guess, I have no insight into this. And I actually got this tweet suggested to me by the guest. Because in a move to fulfill when I said I would do at least 10 Pride Month tweets, I've basically been reaching out to any queer mutual I have and saying, hey, do you have any LGBTQ tweets you want to talk about? So I reached out to Zoe Rose Bryant, who is an occasional film critic, but mostly an icon of film Twitter, and she came back to me with this tweet. And this is our conversation on said tweet. So Zoe, what about this tweet makes you feel seen or attacked or whatever you feel?
It really just resonated for me, especially when I was like coming to terms with my sexuality. I remember like the first time I like really truly had a crush on a girl, like it was like 2.5 years ago at this point. She was like really heavily into me at first, and I just thought she was like trying to pal around, like queen out and stuff. And I met her through another friend, and only when like the three of us were out together, and only when like she went to the bathroom and her friend was like, yeah, like she's like coming on to you. Like, are you queer? What's going on? I was just like, oh, we're just friends. We're just really close, chilling. And since then, I have had to, develop that radar and understand queer dating customs more. But yeah, it just is very funny, I think, especially when you're first getting into like the queer dating world of that friendship and romance line writing very carefully. But yeah, no, I think it's very on point.
Obviously, the response to this tweet and the fact it's tweeted in general means that it's not just an experience that you had. I
Yeah.
don't want you to speak on behalf of all queer women, but what is it about being a queer woman that makes it such a universal experience?
I think because like originally, like, I've had obviously a lot of female friends in my life. It's hard to like figure out like where the line between like that friendship and like the romance, like friendship ends and romance begins. Because originally it was like, oh, like we just get on really well. We have so much in common, just being like two women and stuff. And then it's like, okay, how do we like broach that next step? And I was not prepared for that, so I needed someone else to take the leap. Since then, have been more cultured. But yeah, I think it's that thing where like everyone's just like, oh, it's like really strong female friendship, and I feel like it's that way in a lot of like same-sex relationships and stuff. Is originally are like, oh, are we just like getting on really well on account of who we are, or is there something else going on here? But especially with women, because I feel like women just naturally have like very strong bonds with each other and that emotional connection. And
Yeah. I've never had to worry about confusing queening out with interest. No, I really do feel like I think it is. I feel like if we didn't live in a heteronormative society, this would be a problem everyone has. But I think there's
yeah,
kind of the underlying assumption with opposite sex relationships that there could be romance, you know?
yes,
Um,
yes, yeah.
and whereas that's not the case with queer relationships. Now, there's obviously a second part to this tweet. It's not just about queer women not being able to tell that someone's flirting with them. What's the
Yeah.
deal with queer women being able to guess your zodiac sign in 0.2 seconds?
I see, and I have not now been one of those who's like super into astrology, but multiple people I've been involved with have been very obsessed with astrology. And I think the Venn diagram in general of like women who are very obsessed with it and, also queer and stuff is pretty much a circle and stuff. But yeah, I think I have learned so much from girls I've dated or just like people I've been into and stuff, and they treat it really religiously. And sometimes
Mhm.
I do when it works out for me. I'm like, if this is telling me something I like, then I'm like, I believe in astrology
Mhm.
that day. But yeah, I think women are also just naturally drawn to it. I think especially inheriting and interpreting like signs of people they've been involved with and stuff. And so yeah, I feel like I was read very easily by multiple people for being a Taurus. So all the time I get
Mhm.
that every time.
I have a question though, because I want to see maybe you're getting better at it. What guess my sign?
See, I feel like I don't know enough about you yet to
That's fair. But
yeah,
I'll say this: I, from what I know about this sign, it would
yeah.
make a lot of sense that I would like to talk on camera a lot and talk about tweets on a show. Because,
Oh,
like you, I am also a Taurus.
oh, you are okay. Oh God, yeah. Feel that
Yeah,
kinship for sure. Yeah. See, I'm
yeah,
so I'm so bad at like reading it and stuff. Whenever someone says something like they notice the pattern, I'm like,
yeah.
okay, this makes sense. But yeah, no, I'm just
Yeah,
very
I'm sure that people are. I'm sure we get a lot of comments being like, "Of course you're a Taurus,"
yeah.
as if I didn't just do an episode about my birthday like a couple weeks ago. So they already knew that. Anyway, any final thoughts you want to get off your chest about this whole issue of the queer dating world of you know, the things you've learned, the trials and tribulations you've gone through?
Oh yeah, I feel like I'm just like way more upfront and explicit about like my interest in people these days. I think initially, especially when you're like dipping into like the queer dating world and stuff, it can be very intimidating. But now I'm just like I have no shame about it. If I'm interested in somebody, I'm like I'm not gonna even like toe that line of queening out or actually flirting. I'm like, here we go.
I really want to thank Zoe for suggesting this tweet and then coming on to talk about it. The thing about responses to this tweet is that they're almost all exactly the same. And I don't mean that in a bad way, it's just how accurate the tweet is apparently. Christina posted the screenshot of Marge looking like this with "Why is she so loud?" Amanda said, "I'm in this tweet and I don't like it." Shell City replied, "Lower your voice." And Alex Markman said, "Speaking as one of the 3 queer women in the world who don't believe in astrology, the fact that it's so true is extremely painful." In a similar vein, Dia said, "Reminds me how my girlfriend did the MBTI thing in class today, and I guess she'd be an INFP before she even started, and I was right." And Morlex just wants to cut to the nonsense. She says, "I need you to say it with your chest, otherwise I'll think you're just being friendly, man." Also, Timey, an app for LGBTQ plus dating I'd never heard of, actually stole the tweet completely. Viewers of the show know how much I hate when people steal tweets, but the idea of a company doing it and trying to use it to sell their service, man, that just makes me so mad. Anyway, I think that Zoe's approach is probably best. If you're able to muster it, be upfront. And if you're on the other side of it, maybe you should ask, "Hey, are we queening out or are you flirting with me?" Sorry I had to say that. I just love the phrase queening out. Follow me for new Twitter every day. And if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/museum of Twitter, where you get access to the weekly Museum of Not Twitter, and you can vote on what I cover on Subscriber Sundays.